Tech Talk Live. Join the conversation now. Email your questions to info@midsouthaudio.com or call us live on the air. 302-491-6484. Tech Talk Live.
Hey now.
Hey.
In episode number 25.
25.
25.
Wow. Yeah.
You just snuck in at the last minute,
I
Kevin.
know. I was ready
I
to
did.
start the show. I had
Dutch said,
everything.
let's go. Start it.
So,
We don't need Kevin.
well, hey, I'm here. I had a wardrobe malfunction, and I was missing a Sharpie. You can't do anything technical without
Only
a Sharpie.
Kevin gets makeup and, I don't know, costumes or wardrobe,
Yeah, craft services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of us are on our own.
You want to take care of that, Gino?
Sure.
So, episode 25, Tech Talk Live. We're organized as we can possibly be to do this thing. We've got a good show plan though. It's going to be good. On Stage Stands is our guest, and can we get a shot of what they've got to give away?
Yeah, we've got this back here. Just go to the wide shot.
I think-
column. Yeah, pull that.
I think as far as physical size of products, this is the biggest prize we've ever given away.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah. So 2 airlift speaker stands and a bag for those. Let's see, a heavy-duty tripod boom stand and a heavy-duty 3-section round base mic stand.
That's that right there. Can't see the base of it, but that's it right there.
It's like you're doing the weather.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have to do it backwards in the
There's a-
monitor.
There's a front coming in, moving across the country, and yeah. So anyway, so you got shots of those? That's
Yeah,
cool.
we got shots, kind of
Okay,
shots
cool.
of those. So.
All right. So we'll be giving away those in the third half hour of the show when we're joined by Jeremy from On Stage Stand. So is that my phone blowing up? That's somebody's
sounds
phone
like
blowing
it.
up.
Uh-oh.
No, it's
Oh, it's
yours.
mine. Yeah.
It's your phone blowing up. Where?
It was a call from Phoenix.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
By the time I get to Phoenix. Anyway. Quoting Glenn Campbell songs. Who wrote that, do you know?
No idea.
Okay. Jimmy, I can't think of his name. Anyway. So, we'll move on. So,
Everybody,
starting off with a bang.
Kevin is not feeling well tonight. So, I mean, this is...
I'm feeling so bad they're making excuses for me. So,
yeah, right.
apparently it's really...
I'm glad
it's-
somebody
it's
did.
really showing. So, we are here. I don't sound very good, but either the pollen has gotten worse or I'm more sensitive to it. I'm not sure which.
Maybe a little bit of...
It could be a little bit of both. But so you want to start off with questions or general discussion, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Do you want to call this meeting to order? So there we go. If Dutch had a gavel,
We'd all be in trouble.
Right.
so I think we ought to start a new segment where we talk about like in the last month what one technical thing that went on, and
I was afraid you were going to say event stood out.
well, no, not an event, but some technical problem that we came across in the last month that jumped out. Any particular thoughts on that one?
Well, I walked into a church today and they had old PVCS 800 amps.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had 3 PVCS 800s. 2 of them were still working.
Wow.
And the original Mackie pre-VLZ.
Really?
So just
the 16.
and they wondered, and old SP2s.
Really?
Yep. And then they asked what was wrong.
Some exciting stuff over here, Colin.
Wow. Well, I was at a church that had just updated an organ. They went from an Allen organ and they put in an interface that with a sample device and a Mark of the Unicorn distributor to send out. Was taking the MIDI samples and dividing it into 16 channels plus a sub. So they had 16 channels of organ in the church, like a pipe organ. So they had the antiphonal speakers in the rear, main speakers up front. There were 8 speakers in the rear, 8 speakers in the front, plus 2 subs. And this install happened before, I don't know, after Christmas, before Easter, sometime back. And it was fine. Well, what they didn't like, the monitors they were using, the powered speakers, were in auto mode. And in really dynamic portions of the music, you could hear some of the speakers would go off and then come back on. So they didn't like the auto mode feature, so they wanted them all on. So they were changed to on. Then they thought, well, these speakers are on all the time. We ought to have a switch. And they were already on a breaker. And it really, a lot of electronic gear, you can leave on 24 hours a day. And it's probably even better for it, just to not turn it off and on. Because the power cycling actually, causes it to end its life. So, but they didn't. They put in a switch. And, of course, we had nothing to do with this. But
you mean like a light switch?
Yeah, so to turn these speakers on, like to turn those outlets on, these speakers were plugged into. Okay. They were a power switch. So they had an electrician install the switch. When they put the switch in, everything hummed all of a sudden. So, I mean, I said just because they didn't know the words, that's why I was humming, but they didn't think it was funny. So they decided, and I said, you don't really need a switch. The breaker will be fine. Just, and I'm boring Dust to tears here. But so they removed the switch, and then everything was okay. So the electrician that had put the switch in, and I don't know that I think this might have been a parishioner. I don't know about the word electrician. That might be a loosely.
Okay. It has term. Shun in it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. So they just bugged the wires back together. And on Easter Sunday, they started losing speakers in the rear and they were smoking. And so, we had to figure out what was going on. Well, when we pulled the first speaker down and the output transistors they weren't recognizable to their closest friend. They were just charred. They were burnt, to a crisp. We measured the voltage in the outlet and it was 174 volts.
Oh.
And the more speakers we unplugged, when we got to the other side, it was like 180 and then it got to 190 volts. And all 8 of these speakers in the rear were. So we called the original electrician who did the work that was working, before this other person came in, and they had tied the neutral and the hot wire together of those 2 breakers.
Ouch.
So they were sending, 200 volts down that line.
Mm.
It's amazing that they lasted like 3 weeks. They were switching power supplies, and that took that 200 volts for like 3 weeks. Until they were probably really pushed hard at Easter Sunday.
I've always been told to not let the smoke out of the wires.
Well,
the smoke is in the wires.
It runs on smoke.
Out, right.
Yeah, most of electronic stuff, people don't realize that, but it actually runs on the smoke.
Right.
So if you let the smoke out, it stops working.
Now we're talking. I like smoke.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. But if you let the smoke out, and they have a nickname for you too, Smokey. I heard.
Smokey. Yeah, that's what people call me.
We have a call. Katie, who is that again?
Mike from Dorchester County.
Mike from Dorchester County.
Okay, somebody bail us out because I'm going nowhere.
Right. Yeah, Mike, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm right here. I'm
Okay.
right here. I got a question for you boys tonight. Now, me and JR, we starting this up a hunting show this fall. We're gonna do like a Facebook Live, like y'all do, and JR said he's got some kind of way he can go Facebook Live, YouTube all at the same time. I don't know nothing about that mess, but now he has bought himself.
We're actually going on YouTube tonight as well.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Oh, you are?
We've got
Yeah.
2 viewers on YouTube right now.
Doing? We have a whole 2.
Right.
Yeah.
One of them could be us.
Maybe
Not
it's,
sure.
maybe it's Mike in Dorchester County. So go ahead.
Well, I want to tell JR he can have to get a third one so we can beat you boys out. But anyway. So anyway, JR has bought himself a $1,000 camera for this hunting show we're gonna do. Now he's told me my part is to buy some lights for this. Now I don't know about no lights, no kind. But JR's boy, he listens to y'all. He said to give you a call to find out what kind of light we're gonna need to light this up. Make it look better. He ain't gonna make us look better, but JR said make it look what we're doing look better. So,
well, is this an outdoor hunting show? Are you gonna be taking pictures of like you killing stuff in the woods, or?
We're gonna shoot some live in the field, but the show's gonna be back at JR's. JR's got himself a place all set up there with he's got a bar and a wood stove, and he's got his different mountains up on the wall. We're gonna do it from there. We're gonna host it from there.
So you need to light that.
So that's where JR said we need to light.
Okay.
And JR's got a way. He's got a way. He's gonna show. Like he's in the field, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to show some things, live, what we used out in the field, so you can get up close on it with that camera. A $1,000 camera better shoot something.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. Well, as always on Tech Talk, when we have a lighting question, we turn it over to our resident lighting expert. So now to answer that question, here is Dutch Hine.
Thank you, Kevin Short. I mean, if you're doing video and you're just trying to shoot something, obviously you're just trying to look for like a studio fixture. You don't want like a Parcan or anything like that. You're just kind of looking for like a LED panel light. I mean, Elation makes them. Chauvet makes them.
Now, how you spell that Elation? How that spelled there?
Elation.
Okay. Now, how many of them are going to need? What kind of size?
I mean, how much area are you trying to cover? That's the thing with a panel light. They're meant to cover a lot of area. Usually you kind of have, from the front, you'll have one coming in from the left, one from the right, one from the front. I mean, depending on how good you want it to look, you could do it with one if you just have a couple guys sitting there. But, I mean, if you're trying to go all out here, you're going to want one from the front, one coming in from the left, one coming in from the right, and then one coming in from behind.
Some side light and key light.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends, like, how much you're trying to do here, but...
well, we're gonna start it now. Now, how much these lights cost now? Now that's another thing. You ain't told me how much. You ain't asked me how much money I'm gonna spend on this now. So that'd be a good question.
Well, you asked us what you should do.
Right.
I'm just letting you know what should be done. I mean, money shouldn't change that, but no.
Well, you just said you could go 1, 2,
no,
3,
I
4.
know. With the panel light, that's the thing. There's different levels of those panel lights, so you could get some that are $300, or you could get some that are $1,000. The ones that you're probably looking at are around, I would say, $300 to $400 a light.
Okay.
And that's just a guess. It's kind of hard not looking at it.
So with 3 of those, you're still under the camera budget.
Well, now let me tell you, I just need to make sure I'm spending $1,001.
We can do that.
When JR tried to tell me it's a light, I said, "You only got $1,000 camera. These are $1,001 lights."
And one of our shadow producers, Patrick Shones, is written in that says that IKAN, IKAN, makes a great LED panel for video. And he says they have a 3-light kit for under $1,000, and the refresh rate is clean for camera work. So I mean, that would work as well.
I might as well just go home.
IKAN, yes, and we can also get that for you too. So
now, is that something I would get from you all?
You could do that.
Is that something
Yep.
You a dealer for that? IKAN.
Yep.
All right, that'd be good, because when JR says something, I was going to tell him. I said, "I can. You can't."
That was so I mean, I think any of those recommendations would work.
Just need a panel light.
Yep. And let us know when the show's coming on, because we want to watch this. We want hunting tips, because that's what we all do in our spare time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you boys got any hunters in there.
We're outdoorsmen. Yes, the 3 of us.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Kevin, I could really see you camping outside.
Years, you never can tell. About that. So.
Well,
Well, when we get a name, we'll let you boys know what it's going to be, because right now that's TBD. Right now, that means I don't know what it's going to be called.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Cool. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate you calling in. Thanks a lot.
All right, now y'all have a good night now.
All right.
All right. And Katie says we have some
Apparently
comments.
Stephen Hunter's watching.
Yeah, online comments.
We do have a couple. Kevin stole my one from Patrick, but I have some from earlier in the show. Jeffrey Adecora is watching. He says that he's looking forward to the onstage giveaway and he wants Kevin to feel better from getting sick. Tim Beerbolt is also watching. He wants Kevin to know that he did not see him sneak in at the beginning of the show. He was stealthy. And Linda Dewey from Atlanta is tuning in.
No one has ever called me stealthy before.
My eyes got big when I heard that. I was just like,
I take
what?
that as a compliment. So yeah, we'll do that. So
Can one of
Black is slimming.
so yeah, that's right. The black makes me look slim. Exactly right. So
that was Mark who just called in, right?
You got a question?
Mike.
I did. Jeffrey wants to know if you have 3 mics to pick up a drum set, what would y'all do?
Well, what's your budget? Because if I was going to do it with 3 mics, I would do an Earthworks mic system.
Sure. But you can also just do a kick snare and an overhead.
Yeah.
52,
Well.
57, and an 81.
I said it was depending on your budget. If you wanted 3 mics to really make it sound good, are you recording? Is it live reinforcement? There's a lot of questions
Could be 357.
there. We try to figure out ways to not answer the question. That's the idea. Like that question is there's not enough information.
Right.
We can't answer that. So I don't know. The sky's the limit. But you're right.
Yeah.
You can do 357.
You could do 357s. I've done it before.
But I mean, if you wanted to,
What's your budget, Kevin?
that Earthworks mics package is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do not have one. Let's put it that way. He might want it, but we do not use it on gigs.
Because drummers hit them with sticks. That's the problem.
So the 357 option,
What's your budget?
less than $300.
Okay, all right. Kevin, what's the Earthwork budget?
2,500.
Okay, big difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sound difference.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. In the 81, 52, 57 combination, you're probably
$600.
$600 or $700.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
And
can do
that's-
it. You can sound good for under $1,000.
Well,
Yeah,
and it's also in the user.
Yeah.
We can put the Earthworks in the 357.
Or you got to
next each
first
other.
make sure the drummer's worth miking.
Okay, well then there's that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause,
He had to top me. He had to do it.
All right, I've got a question from Kenny. Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Sure.
It's a quick question. He says, "Do you have to have Dante controller installed in order to sync wireless Workbench with ULXDs that are Dante'd into a QL5?" I didn't understand any of that.
The Dante networking is what the latest network transmitting audio transmissions from the mixer to the amplifiers,
Okay.
from the microphones to the mixers.
Mhm.
It's just a different way of transmitting the information now. As far as wireless workbench is used to scan for frequencies, what's available in the area, so then you can sync your wirelesses up to the available frequencies, staying out of places that are cluttered with frequencies that are being used. Do you have to have, I guess it was Dante
controller.
Dante controller. You don't have to have Dante controller to use wireless Workbench. You do have to, it helps to have Dante controller to get a ULXD connected to a, what was it, QL or
QL5.
QL5.
Yeah.
It certainly helps. Dante virtual sound, or is it virtual sound card? Is it no, not virtual sound card. Dante controller.
Yeah.
Dante controller. It's just a way to patch inputs and outputs easily. A lot of times when you're doing it from the console, I did it the other day, and it was just hard to get it to do. It was difficult to, even for somebody who does this all the time. How did I make it? How do I make it work on Dante? When you have Dante controller, it makes it a lot easier. But the question is, do you have to have Dante controller to work with wireless Workbench? I don't think you do.
No, and Patrick agrees. He says no on the Dante controller question for wireless Workbench into the ULXD, even if you're on the Dante network. But I think that the thing is, it can make things go easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not with wireless Workbench. You don't need it at all.
No, you don't need it at all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that
just a
answered
tool.
that one. Good one.
And
David,
he says, good answer, Gino. So there you go. You liked your answer. Gino was a definite maybe on that.
That was a definite. No,
Yeah.
I didn't want to commit until I saw Patrick's answer.
David from Lincoln University, Pennsylvania says, "I'm working on an installed
So
project."
that's not Lincoln University in Lincoln, Delaware.
No,
You know,
no. It's
'cause
the other.
we might be in Lincoln University right now. Yeah,
Yeah, and Jim Weller is the teacher.
the
He's-
dean.
He's the dean.
the dean, the dean of Lincoln University. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on sabbatical right now. Yeah.
All right, we got a Facebook question. Let's go to that.
Okay.
All right. Jeffrey Adekora says he's still confused on how compression works and how they are set on consoles like the X32. I know you had Behringer a while ago. Any ideas or help there?
So, Jeff, do you want to know how compression works in general, or how to use the compressor on an X32?
I feel a diagram coming.
Well, yeah, a picture would be good. A picture would be good.
I feel a diagram. Hang on, Kevin. I'll get you a piece of paper.
I can draw a compression diagram.
I know you can.
I guess general compression. How does it work, Kevin?
There's sometimes where I just want to say Google. Is that bad? Is that bad? Just watch a video. I mean, I know that's horrible.
This is why they watch the show, though,
right.
Dutch.
I know.
Basically, how a compressor works is as you set a threshold. Basically, the signal hits a threshold, and then it begins to turn things down. On typical compressors, you have
I don't like this.
inputs,
You want another piece?
No,
you
no,
have
no.
the threshold, and you have
I got a diagram.
ratio,
coming.
and you have attack and release, and all kinds of different controls. But essentially, what that compressor is doing is just turning things down as things get louder.
I mean, is it terrible to kind of think of a compressor as a limiter?
A limiter is a compressor.
Okay.
Essentially.
Well, that's two different things. No, a compressor is not a limiter.
No, but a limiter is a compressor.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. Follow along here. Okay, the camera was over my shoulder. So this is this is
cameras.
this is zero.
Yep. You have a
This is max.
yeah
Okay.
zero volume. And
So
maximum
if this sine wave,
signal, I should say.
yeah, if this sine wave was your signal, that's the total dynamic range.
We can't see
Yeah, we
that.
got it. We see it.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah,
we
there
got
you
you now.
If this was the total dynamic, I feel like Ross Perot. Here, okay. Now I'm doing the weather. There's a front coming over into the Gulf. If this is your complete dynamic range of your program material,
Loud and soft.
you've got you've yes, that means that here's the lowest, here's off, and here's the maximum volume. Well, that means that if the dynamic range of your program material is that big, you can't turn this up anymore. Because if you turn it up, you're going to exceed the maximum headroom of your amplifier, and you're going to have clipping, which means you're going to clip off the top of that sine wave.
Square wave.
And you make that sine wave then becomes a square wave. So how do you control this? Because, you know, something that's really dynamic, somebody that gets really, really quiet and then gets really, really loud, you want to be able to turn that up, you know. So you do that by squeezing this signal. So what a compressor does is takes this and you set a threshold, and you say when the signal reaches above, you know, some threshold here, that we're going to apply a certain amount of gain reduction, and that's listed in a ratio: 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 6-to-1, infinity to 1. And that means for every, like in a 2-to-1 ratio, it means for every 2 dB increase, then there's going to be, if it goes up, I can't do this backwards. If it goes up 2 in input, then the output goes up 1. So that's 2-to-1. 4-to-1, if it goes up 2 dB in input, or 4 dB in input, it goes up 1 dB in output. So that's a 4-to-1 ratio. So it's hence more compression. So ultimately what happens is you take that signal and you make it smaller. And then you're able to, this is still your maximum headroom, okay, and this is still 0. Now you've taken that signal and you've crunched it down because you've applied gain reduction. So your signal's now smaller, and now you can move it up and down in the amplitude area of the spectrum. So you can make it louder, and you still have all the signal. It's just compressed, and it's more manageable. So that's what compression does. Is that now how fast this happens is determined by the attack. How slow it gets released is determined by the release. Some compressors have attack and release. I'm sure on the Behringer you've got attack and release controls.
You do.
That's That's how it works. And a lot of those graphs on, it's not a very good drawing. They kind of look like. Pay no attention to this. They look like this, and they show the knee of the curve. And some compressors have a knee control, and it's how smoothly this knee happens at the compression.
How quickly?
It can be. This is really hard to do upside down. It can be really abrupt, and that's kind of limiting.
Right.
You know, that's like cutting it right off, or it can be really nice and smooth and musical, which is kind of what that is. And so you can adjust the knee, and that's what most of the compression GUIs look like on the face of a. But this is showing input versus output going this way. So you're turning it down, and you're bending the signal, you're compressing it, and that's how you're controlling it. So does that make any sense? You got that, Dutch?
Yeah. I got
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the best way to do it sometimes is just take a microphone, start talking.
So you've changed your mind. Google was your best answer earlier.
No, Google is still my best answer.
Okay.
Google didn't draw you these custom diagrams.
That's
though.
right. That's
But
right.
I do have a question about compression. Are you better off to run a compressor on each channel, or should you just put one at the end?
Oh, I think that depends.
I typically do both.
So you're going to run one on each channel,
Yeah.
and then you're going to put one on your final output.
On the final output in the mix.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Kind of just smooths everything out.
Yeah.
You could even do parallel compression.
Yeah.
Compress two things at once with the same compressor. Anyway.
Is there a triple compressor?
It sounds like Lincoln University here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Speaking, I think
dismissed.
so. I think you answered that
So
one.
Stephen Hunter is watching, and you want to know what he could win tonight. And so Katie has responded: 2 airless speaker stands, with a speaker stand bag, a heavy duty telescoping tripod boom stand, and a heavy duty 3-section round base mic stand, all coming up in the third half hour of the show.
Now, does all that go away to one
Touch
person?
has a good point, says Patrick. There's a lot to be said for grabbing a mic and playing with those controls to hear what they actually do.
Who said this?
That's Patrick.
Okay.
But that's when I'm not around to draw you pictures. See, if I were around to draw
your
pictures,
pictures, I don't know. I feel like 5 minutes behind the console is like 10 to 1, 3 to 1. What's this do? Output gain. Oh, that's too much. I feel like that would help a little bit more.
Yeah,
Well,
you got to play with it.
I didn't have a console in front of me, so I did the best I could.
All right. Follow-up question from Jeffrey.
He said it makes sense, but is the threshold the highest level or the lowest level?
The threshold is where the compression begins.
Yes.
So the lower the threshold, the sooner you're going to compress, and ultimately the more compression you're going to have. So if you want to start. If you were having let me just see your compressor. Move over. Hello, 1 2 1. Oh, yours isn't even engaged.
It isn't even on.
That's
I
weird.
looked over when you
I
said
thought
that
earlier that we didn't sound as squeezed as we usually do. So why don't we engage our compressor right here in house? Has it stopped working or?
What?
I don't know.
That's strange.
Well,
it seems like it's out of the circuit.
I think that the way I like to
We're gonna probably lose audio here any second.
If I unplug it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Who knows? Sure, why not?
Sure. Who knows if we're still here?
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
This is kind of doing this. Dutch's suggestion was to try it and play with it. So we were gonna play
I
with it
didn't
on the
say
air.
try to play with it on air. I said, kind of just get behind the console, just you and the one-on-one.
Well, I
with
actually
the
thought we
console.
weren't being compressed because I heard some clipping earlier. So there we go. Hello. Oh yeah.
Wow,
now,
I
did
had
you hear
to
the noise?
reset that.
Did you hear the noise flow come up? So now it's compressing everything. So
the
quieter stuff gets louder. And now as I talk louder, I don't get as loud. So that's it. So we'll go over to the threshold control, Colin, and we'll do this. Maybe we can get a camera on it. Can we get a camera on that? As he plays with this, we can actually show compression on Tech Talk. This will be.
Is Kevin in this shot here, Colin? In 5?
Or just move that.
Oh, the studio camera. Good. I'm going to use this one.
This is live, folks. The speed of live. We're trying to answer one question here. All right. You can see this is a DBX 1066. It's a very common analog compressor. It's in stereo mode, so both channels are doing kind of the same thing. So we're going to show you what this compressor looks like.
If they don't break the
as
camera.
I talk, if they don't break the camera while they're doing it. Apparently, we don't have $1,000 camera budget, or at least a mount. Here we go. I think we've broken the camera. Oh, we're good.
We're good.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right, now, are you in the way of the camera?
Okay, here we go. I'm going to
Okay.
sit off to the side here.
All right.
There
So
we
can
go.
we
All
see what's going on?
Yeah.
So raise the threshold up considerably.
So turn,
All
it,
right.
turn it to your right.
Let me
turn it to the
find
right.
the threshold.
Yeah,
That's going to
not-
be the
not-
first.
No, that's the gate threshold. Forget that. We're not gating.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
all
going to go
right.
to the
So
next section. So
compressor.
it's going to be like the fourth knob, I think. Maybe.
This is a threshold here.
Yeah, that's
That's
it. You go
Okay.
all the way to the right.
So right now we're at -10.
So you can see that I'm compressing right now. If we go up, I just got louder because there's no gain reduction and there's no compression.
But if you notice, all that quiet stuff, it's kind of changed.
Yeah,
It's
right. Right.
when he engages that threshold really hard, you're going to hear that as we talk, that quiet stuff gets softer and it's going to kind of pump.
So, but if I talk loud, I can clip it
You can't.
all of a sudden. See, and I couldn't do that earlier.
Getting blown away over here.
And if I talk really quiet, you can still hear me. So now we're gonna engage the threshold. So lower that to about half, like 50%.
Right there.
Yeah. So now that's quite a bit of That's quite a bit of compression. Now, were you showing like 8 dB of compression?
I bet it's probably 14.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't see it.
We can't see it from here, but
What are we looking at? The gain reduction?
Yeah, gain reduction.
so now if I get really loud, it's capping me. Hello. I can't
About
get
12.
I'm no louder. And if I get really soft, you can still hear me. So it's compressed the dynamic range. So lower the threshold even more. Now we're gonna now I'm really squeezed and everything sounds almost the same volume, whether I'm screaming or whispering. It's the same thing.
And you notice when he stops
That's like
talking,
way
you can
too
almost,
much.
it's almost like the background noise is almost as loud
It
as
starts
he
to
is.
suck up. That's called pumping and breathing. That's the side effect of compression.
Here, come up.
Yep. You stop
Yeah.
and the room noise comes up.
Yeah.
And that's part of the attack and release, which that's probably in auto mode, so it's doing it automatically. So put that threshold back to where it was, which was about
12 o'clock,
Yeah,
I think. It
yeah,
was
there you
Yeah,
go.
it might be
That's
a little
maybe
high.
1 o'clock.
that's about right. So there you go. We had graphics, and then we had actually show and tell with a real live compressor. And found out that we weren't compressing
Once we got
our
it
audio.
working.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. So
Well, very good.
what was Jeff's question? Okay. All right.
No, thank you. We got our compressor working. Why did it do that, you think? Well, we did have some power outages.
Did I
and
just
stuff.
see Dutch being a camera guy?
Tech Mess Live. That's what Steven called it.
What?
It's Tech Mess Live.
Tech Mess Live? Yeah, there you go.
The new show with Colin. That's
So anyway, I guess we got through that one. So what's the next question?
Next question. I've lost my paper. Where did I set it down?
I probably drew on it.
There we go. All right. Next question. What were we? We're going to Lincoln University. That's right. David from Lincoln University,
Oh, that's where we
Pennsylvania.
were. We never got to this question.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm working on an installed project that will have.
Oh, Jeffrey really liked it. He said that's really awesome. So
Yeah, that's good.
I think you should win a stand for that. So there you go.
All right.
Maybe he'll be lucky.
Okay.
I'm working on an installed project that will have 108 video panels used to create a video wall. We're looking to provide 100 amp 3-phase power to the wall. The question has come up as to whether or not having the panels on different phase of service and being what 120 degrees out of phase would cause any problems when reproducing a signal image on a large screen. I'm not a video guy or a big power guy, so I thought I would ask here. So 100 amp 3-phase power to the wall.
So he's
And-
saying, does every panel need to be on the same phase? No,
Okay.
it doesn't. In fact, in a 3-phase system, you want your load to be as balanced as possible because any difference in current draw between the phases is going to go to neutral. And then when the more things become unbalanced, the more your neutral is carrying, the more load your neutral is carrying. And that's that on a in an install situation would be a bad thing. Sometimes it's kind of unavoidable live, and we have to monitor it and watch the percentage of voltage that's going to neutral. But we endeavor always to balance the load. So you definitely don't want to have it all in one phase. You want to spread it out to all three. That would be the way to do it. And I don't want to go out on a limb here because somebody can Google this.
No, we're back to the Google.
I think the degree of phase difference though between phases is not 120. I think it's 180.
180, right.
I think it's 180 degrees out of phase. I believe. I mean, even like in 208, I think it's 100. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to think about that, actually, but maybe Patrick could look that up. Well, and Patrick has already phase loading of LED screen is industrial standard. Oh, it's 120. Is that right?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not standing corrected because I wasn't sure.
And Patrick said 120 is correct.
120 is correct.
180 for single phase.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. Exactly.
That
So
makes sense.
yeah, because it's 208. It was 240. It's 180 degrees out of phase, but at 208, it's 120. You're exactly right. Yep.
I'm a sound guy.
Katie, did you say you had a comment?
I
there?
did. You guys always take Patrick's comments, so I usually can't say his, but we did have a little earlier from the compression. Jeffrey and Gary both think there should be compression on TV for some commercials, and Jeffrey think it'd be good for playing music in some of the old movies.
There's nothing any more highly compressed than TV, actually.
Yeah, but not for commercials because that's what they want you to hear.
No, they compress them and turn them way up. That's how
Yeah,
they get them
yeah.
louder.
That's why
so
really?
that's why they are
Yeah.
compressed, because they're like a lot louder. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're always loud.
Yeah, they're playing the loudness wars with the commercials. Yeah. Go ahead, Katie.
Sorry. Tim Pierbolt said that he's just going to show this for my lesson plan tomorrow. We're learning compression, kids. So you guys are going to be teachers.
You're gonna be a star tomorrow.
Well, we were at Lincoln University. So
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
right. Lincoln University.
So
All right, next question. Jason writes in, says, let's see. I'm getting ready to purchase a couple of totems for my larger movers. Do not have to be Tomcat or Thomas quality. They will only be used a few times yearly as most of my stuff gets hung. Looking for inexpensive ideas. 3 to 5 feet tall is good. Just want them off the floor and hate the look of milk crates. Ha ha ha.
now I just want to interrupt here for a second. If
Okay.
you were tuning into this show just by accident, and you weren't a technical person, and you heard that question, you'd have absolutely no idea what we're talking
Kevin, I just read that question. I have absolutely no idea.
about. We mentioned
I've
totems.
been here all night.
My stuff gets hung. I don't. I did that's
Larger
just-
movers.
Yeah,
Tomcat.
yeah. So yeah.
Where are we going with
I'm just saying that's
We could rearrange these words.
that out of context is a bizarre
And
question.
3 to 5 feet tall.
Oh man,
And
Make it-
inexpensive.
Make it stop.
Maybe you won't show this in your classroom tomorrow.
Once again, for all lighting questions, we defer to Dutch Hine, who is here in the room.
Oh, these are lights.
Yes.
No, we're talking about truss towers.
Trust towers.
Okay.
He's got lights.
On truss towers.
That's a lighting question.
Okay, global truss or trust? Global truss is,
How do you spell trust?
TRUSST.
There you go. Because you were asked to spell elation earlier, which I thought was kind of bizarre, but go ahead.
By Mike, who has
Yes.
called in multiple times with multiple different names.
Not what? No.
No, that's never happened.
No.
What's your answer to this?
Trust is made by Chauvet, or Chauvet owns Trust. I mean, that's an inexpensive trust that's still reliable, or Global Trust. There's a lot of stuff that's cheaper than that, but I don't really know about it. I mean, stuff I use is Tomcat or Thomas, but we do own some Global Trust and we do rep Trust. But there's other stuff you could probably find, but those.
Yeah, but for what he's looking for on a budget, lightweight trust, the Chauvet product or the
Yeah.
Global Trust product will be fine.
Mhm.
Even larger movers is kind of, what does that mean? How heavy? It depends.
I mean,
A larger mover
could be
10
80,
years
90
ago
pounds. It still could be 80,
yeah,
90
could be
pounds.
huge. A larger mover today is not that heavy, but
Still good.
Yeah.
We do have a phone call.
We have a phone.
We have D on the phone.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Here we go.
and D stopped by for a visit at the office the other day and missed Dutch.
No,
Was
yeah,
not
he
there.
did it when I wasn't there, and then I heard you took him out to lunch, and I wasn't invited. I was a little upset.
Oh, you were invited. You just weren't there to go.
Well, you should know Kevin. He just keeps me working all the time. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
That's what I hear about Kevin. He really keeps a lot of people working a lot of the time, which is good. How are you guys?
He has a good point here online. Sorry, Dan, I'm going to interrupt you. You said that Mike asked you to spell elation and not Chauvet, which probably would have been a more difficult word to spell.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Anyway, D, thanks for calling.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome. I had a nice time the other day. Nice visit with you guys.
Well, that's cool.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Got to spend some time with you and your brother, and
Yeah.
it was good to see you. I was sorry that Dutch missed you. He was out
Yeah.
getting smart. He was being trained.
Nice.
Was that
nice.
training day?
Yeah, you were training. You were in Laurel, Maryland, getting trained. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was really impressed with your setup. He really enjoyed it.
Pretty sure when you guys got there, it was really messy. I think we were
We were
working on-
barcoding.
we
yeah.
were working on inventory last week,
Yeah.
so the shop was a mess.
Well, it happens.
Yeah. Hey,
It's busy. You can tell it's busy in there. A lot going on.
I think D said at one point, I couldn't live like this. That's what he
Because
said.
it was messy.
Yeah, he's like, I couldn't live like this.
I'll show him a
He
picture of what it
No, I-
usually
I-
looks like. Because trust me, I didn't like it either. D. It was torture.
No, I just can't work under these conditions.
That's what
I
you
really
said.
can't.
I couldn't work under these conditions. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you said.
Yeah, it was a mess. Hey, it was nice to pick that cabinet up, and I have a touch mix Leslie cabinet question. for
Okay.
you guys.
All right,
And,
cool.
We're having trouble in the when we mic that cabinet in the console. It sounds real MIDI, and we're having trouble getting that out of it. And it seems to be looking online and at some things. It seems to be a lot. When I say MIDI, mid range on the EQ, we're having trouble getting that out. And with the touch mix, I noticed on the auxes and the main, it has a graphic equalizer, but on the individual channels, it does not give you a graphic EQ to work with. Is that something they're going to ever incorporate?
Well, no, it gives you a parametric EQ, which is actually kind of more powerful than a graphic, because a graphic is fixed, has a fixed bandwidth. So the parametric EQ that it gives you has a constantly variable Q and frequency. So you can actually go find out where that honkiness is or that midiness sound is. Now, when you're micing it, I think you got an 868 mic for the low end and a 57 for the top, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Are you micing it from opposite sides of the cabinet, like one in the front and one in the back?
Well, we read the instructions, the miking instructions that came with the cabinet,
Yeah.
and it really recommended not to do that.
Well, they were wrong.
Don't mic anywhere but the front, and we went with that instruction as opposed to yours.
Oh,
But now you're calling with a problem, and you want me to fix it. First thing I'd do is change the. I'd put the high mic in the back. That's the first thing I would do.
Okay.
And if that causes you any kind of weird sound, you can put that second mic 180 degrees out of phase, but you'll lose the leakage. You'll never have a problem with the leakage. So if
Okay.
the argument is miking them from the front, the only argument you would have is so they want the mics to be in line phase-wise. Now, that's kind of a strange thing when you're micing a cabinet that's constantly rotating and completely out of phase all the time. So
Right.
I don't know where they're getting off. But
Right.
anyway, so I'll take,
Whoa.
So I'm defending my answer. So
I'm just saying,
what
that's
I'm
it
trying
says.
to avoid here so here's the reason for miking from opposite sides of a Leslie cabinet is so you don't get leakage from the top mic to the low end mic.
I got it.
So-
I got it.
but that's what I was gonna say. Is like, can you mute one and then the other kind of hear? I hear there's the 868 going on. I mean, is this something that we sold?
Yeah, he bought an 868 from us and a 57. And a
Yeah,
57.
matter of fact. Oh, you don't recommend that?
That's not Dutch's favorite mic. He knows it's one of my
I
favorite
like it,
mics.
but I mean, why we usually do a 421 or something like that.
Well, he didn't have a 421 budget.
Okay,
Right,
well,
I'm-
that's all I needed to hear. That's fine.
I would have gladly sold him a 421. I would have, sold him an M88 if he, wanted one.
I mean,
Well, he
868.
tried to
I mean,
sell
we
me
use it in the
two-
studio. It's great.
Yeah, they're fine. Huh?
But he only had, he tried to sell me 257,
But he
but he only had one.
You hit me
recommended
after
that other
Easter. Yeah, we were a little low. So,
one. Yeah.
so the first thing I would do is mic it the way we discussed by putting the top mic in the back.
I will, sir.
And then, Then find out by doing what Dutch suggested, by muting one of the microphones and see which one is giving you the MIDI sound. Probably going to be the low end mic. That's probably the one that's going to. But you can't tell that if you've got them both mic from the front, because you're going to get just as much from the bottom as you are from the top. So once you separate them, then you can start making those choices.
Now, in fairness, we kind of tried to do that, and we thought maybe we were getting it from that bass kick drum mic, whatever, the
Correct,
68, whatever that was.
Right.
We did replace that with a 58 just to try to get some.
And did it go away?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think so.
No.
So
It didn't help.
So I would, once you separate the mics, you can actually apply the EQ. Then what I would do is take that parametric equalizer and go to the mid-band EQ and boost the heck out of a frequency and just sweep that band until you find the offensive frequency that you're hearing. And then widen that bandwidth narrow that bandwidth till you've just got enough of the offensive frequency, and then cut that much out, and that'll clean it up. It'll sound great. Bob's your uncle, and you're done.
Okay. All right.
But the first thing is miking it properly by putting them on opposite sides of the cabinet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going to repeat that over and over. Dude.
Let me say the first way to start approaching a Leslie cabinet is to mic them with one mic on one side and one on the other.
How to mic a Leslie?
That seems to be a theme, and I asked you that question.
And the other argument would be, if you do hear phase error, which is weird on a rotating phase cabinet, then you could put one phase out of
one mic out of phase.
One mic out of phase. So
okay, all right. Well, I don't think that's.
I can't believe that Patrick hasn't chimed in on this one.
Oh boy,
he knows not to argue with you on this one.
Well, it's for leakage reasons. It's the only reason. I mean, it's not because they sound any different, and you're still going to get a lot of leakage from the bottom of in the back. But it's just makes
some
more
of the
sense.
many shows we did last summer, they were using 3 mics.
Yeah,
they were using
stereo mics on the top.
Mics on the
Patrick
top.
just
a lot of guys like doing stereo mics on the top. I tend to roll off the bottom mic, the bottom end of the top mic, and scoop the mids out of the bottom mic to help keep the two channels isolated and avoid honky tones.
Avoid those too.
I always tend to do the 3 mic setup to keep the rotating speaker. He's got more here. Speaker effect by panning. You could do that too. I mean, a lot of guys do it with 3 mics, and I was trying to go easy on you, not sell you 3 mics. So,
well, I appreciate that.
And I don't know if your space is big
honestly,
enough
I'm not
to
sure we got 3 channels left to run it with.
Well, and I'm a firm believer of the fewer mics the better. So,
yeah.
I mean, you could technically mic a Leslie with one microphone. If you put it like right between the top and the bottom. I've done that too with like a 421, and that can actually work. Okay. But it does work better with 2, and the argument for 3 is valid. So,
right.
I was looking at. Sorry, Nathan's comment made me laugh. Gave me a little giggle.
Patrick also avoids honky tonks. It's the mechanical bullshit.
Yeah. Well, good for him.
Yeah. So you want to try that and then call in next week and tell me you didn't take my advice and then you still have questions?
Yeah, that's how I'm going to handle it.
Okay, well, that's how we started off tonight. All right, guys, I paid no attention to what you told me earlier. It doesn't work. So
I feel like this has happened before with the Obey 70. I feel like this is not the first time this has happened.
Hey, why do you always want to beat me up? Is that really that much fun for you? Goodness.
It actually is. It is for Dutch.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I really do.
Yeah, we're really glad you stopped by the other day, and we sold you those extra mics with extra mid range. So in case you needed plenty,
I know.
You'd have some.
You had plenty,
and because it's a long ride back to Southern Maryland, so we wanted to make sure you didn't run out of mid range by the time you got back.
It's all mic placement then, not the mid-range and the mic. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I think before you left, I talked about placing one mic behind the cabinet and one in front. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We did talk about that.
Yeah,
but,
we did.
It was in direct conflict with the manufacturer's recommendation.
Yeah, well, okay.
I know. I get it.
They build the speaker cabinets. They don't mic them. So,
Yeah.
in fact,
But, you know, getting back
their
to the
argument
touch
would be
mix
that you
thing,
should probably never mic it. So there you go.
the mains and the touch mix, the auxes and the mains offer you both the parametric and the graphic
Correct.
equalizer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the individual channels only offer the one. You know, maybe you could talk to the people at QSC for me and see if they could incorporate that in the next.
The reason they do that is because they've given you a more sophisticated EQ on the channel, and they've given you an option on the output. Just because that outputs were usually historically handled by graphic EQs.
Yeah.
But, you know, a more precise, it turns out if you're using a graphic EQ, you only use a couple bands anyway. So why not give somebody a 5-band parametric where they can dial in exactly what they need and be real precise? And
Yeah, everybody thinks that a graph, because it has so many different controls, is better.
and it's not.
And it's not.
And it's just every one of those is just an invitation for more phase error.
Right.
So
I guess my theory was maybe I'm more familiar with the operation
with
of
the
the graphic
graph.
as opposed to the parametric. And
Yeah.
maybe I just need some more work with that.
Yeah.
Well, you can draw little pictures on the screen, you know, with them, and you can hear how that sounds and play with it. And I mean, I'm serious, and that's how you're going to figure out what's going on. You just want to sweep it. You want to boost the mid range, sweep it, find where the offensive frequency is, because when you get to where that midiness sounds, it's going to sound really, really bad.
It's going to take off.
And then you're just going to just pull that out, and you're done.
All right.
It's that
That
quick.
makes sense.
Yep.
And you know, really, it wasn't me. It wasn't I that was doubting your technical knowledge on this. It was my brother that read that book. I would have never gotten it out.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I see.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get him to go
bus.
and listen
So
back
to
to
speak.
this, and I just want him to know that it wasn't me. It was him that recommended all those out of the ordinary mic techniques.
And Nathan in Georgia says some of the best solutions are recommended against by the manufacturer. So there you have it.
Okay. Well, there we go.
So there you have it.
Well, as long as Nathan knows what he's talking about.
And he does.
We're good.
So
We're good.
there you go.
Cool. Absolutely fun. Maybe I'll get over there again. Hey, I got to go back over in a month or so anyway to pick up that other item. Maybe I'll get to treat you guys to lunch or something.
Cool. Okay.
Great.
Yeah,
Do
that'd
it.
be cool.
All right, man. Thanks for
Nice.
calling.
Thank you. See you guys later.
In case you wonder what you stumbled onto, you're watching Tech Talk Live. It's a monthly program that we do here at Mid-South Audio to talk about all your technical problems and take on your technical questions and hopefully help you get through your day a little easier and put your mind at rest. And
Technical, audio, video, lighting.
yeah, it's a calm and relaxed show, and you know we
eat nut butters.
yeah,
Right.
and we eat Nutter Butters.
Katie has a online question she wants to ask us.
Okay.
I do. Jeffrey Adekora has another random question, as he puts it. I was looking for a mixer PA for my band, and I have chosen the Mackie Pro FX12 V2. Now, what's the point of the double inputs? They run on the same slider, too, so you can't separate two things if you plug two different things into a 5/6 channel.
I believe they're actually those inputs are intended.
And we
to be,
talk with our mouths full.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there we go. We also eat Nutter Butters and talk with our mouths full.
Those inputs are intended to be stereo inputs. So if you're hooking up a CD player or something like that, you hook the left side into one and the right side into the other. They are line inputs. You can plug a guitar into it or keyboard into it.
But you can only use one channel then, one input per. Yeah. So, or you're going to have one come out the right, one come out the left.
Exactly. So you can take a keyboard and plug in stereo.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like it's supposed to. But you can't use input 6 because I think it's only going to come out the right side.
Yeah. Right.
So I think
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it made sense to us. I was wondering if it made sense to them. So
I'm lost.
You're lost.
No, please, let's move on.
All right, let's draw a diagram.
All right.
No.
Okay.
Question
Moving right
228.
along.
Are you ready for, I'm not sure if it's Levon or Levon from King, North Carolina. We have
I don't know.
we have a 51 by 8 wall at my church that we would like to use for projection. We want to be able to project onto this entire area. We currently use ProPresenter. I am aware of using ProPresenter
We don't have Mike here.
with a Matrox.
Yeah, just word Patrick.
We don't have
Triple
Mike
head.
here.
You wanna-
Patrick, pay attention and answer this question. Okay. Go ahead. Go
Triple
ahead.
head to go. The problem with the setup is that with only 3 outputs and edge blending, 3 projectors, I would only be able to attain an image approximately 39.6 feet by 8 feet.
Gosh, we're gonna have to do math.
Using 16 by 9 projectors.
Uh,
16 to 9 projectors, if my calculations are correct. Using a fourth projector would allow me to cover what I need, but you can only use 3 with ProPresenter. What other software or hardware is there available to help me cover this area? Thanks for your help.
I'm just going to be an idiot, and I know this isn't the right answer. Just move the projectors farther away from the wall to make the image bigger. And I know that's not the right answer.
We're all really tired. Can you tell? And that is, that's a good answer, actually. Or build a smaller wall.
Right.
Or get a video wall. I'm trying to do the math in my head, and I can't do this. So the setup has only. I understand the 3 output issue.
Right. He's just looking for other software.
It has an image approximately 39 by 6 by 8, using 16 by. So he's in 16 by 9. If we use 3 with ProPresenter, whatever, so it doesn't allow him to cover what he needs. He's trying to cover 51 feet by 8 feet. Patrick, have you weighed in here?
No. Nathan kind of, or
okay,
actually
careful.
said might work.
Pro Video Player, he says.
He's doing on a paycheck, and we're making him ask questions. Okay.
So Nathan says Pro Video Player from Renewed Vision might work. That's one of his solutions. And these guys are from GNTV. If anybody needed to know.
Thanks for letting us know. If you can tell.
And they know a lot about video. So there are manufacturers who make 4 output devices, but I've never used them. I use a Triple Head 2 Go regularly. Your best bet is being able to zoom out the projector and mask the top or bottom.
Move the projector further.
What's the lighting
away.
guide, right?
Top or bottom to frame
What's
it.
the lighting?
So I think actually
Oh my God.
Dutch probably nailed it.
Oh,
Yeah, move
yes.
the projector. Yeah.
I couldn't be happier right now. I'm glad I came to take that.
Well, because you could electronically zoom it or physically zoom it. So that's what we have. 3 minutes left.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. We've burnt through an hour of this nonsense. Wow. People are going to stop watching this show because we're not even. Did we answer the question
I
yet?
think we answered. We're 4 questions.
We have one
We're
more.
4 questions
We
in.
have one more comment from Patrick. Go ahead, Katie.
Okay, Patrick.
Patrick is getting ready for that paycheck. He said that there are manufacturers who make a 4-output device, but I've never used them. I just
read this.
Yeah,
I just read there. Are you paying attention to the?
Pay attention there.
Yeah, pay attention, Katie.
I kind of tune you out every once in a while.
That's
Kevin.
okay. It's all right. It's just like being at the office. Yeah.
Well, it's such a good answer. I'm going to have to read it again.
Okay.
He's going to want 2 checks.
I
now.
tell you what. If nothing else, it's fun. So
What are we doing next half hour? Let's talk about that.
next half. Oh, well, he's back. He's Pro Video Player isn't a bad option if you would allow for more if it would allow for more outputs, but you will run into a whole new world of problems with getting content into it. If you're looking for video playback, only PVB is good. If you want lyrics and text, then PVB isn't an option. So Pro Video Player, he's saying, is going to have issues, but I like his answer, which really was your answer. Zoom them out either physically or electronically. So there you go.
Good answer.
Move them back. Yeah. Okay.
What are we doing next half hour, Kevin?
Next half hour, we're going to be joined by Jeremy Payne from Onstage Stands. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of products that Onstage Stands has to offer. And they've got a lot of stuff. So I think we can fill this half hour with a lot of things that you probably may not know. Can you model the stand, Dutch? Can you help us here?
Model the stand.
Yeah, do the Vanna White. So we have 2 airlift speaker stands. You're not modeling.
You want me to model now?
Two airlift speaker stands
Yes.
with 1 speaker bag that holds both stands.
It's going to pinch his finger.
There you go. And we have the heavy duty tripod boom stand, telescoping boom stand. And we have a heavy-duty round-base mic stand. There you go. And a heavy-duty round-base mic stand. There it is. There we go. So, see, they've all been modeled. So we're going to take about a, 30-second break, no more than that. And we'll come back, we'll regroup, and we'll be joined by Jeremy Payne, and we'll talk about all things on-stage stands. And we'll get these things away, so stick around. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is Tech Talk Live.
Tech Talk Live. Join the conversation now. Email your questions to info@midsoutaudio.com or call us live on the air. 302-491-6484. Tech Talk Live. Tech Talk Live. Join the conversation now. Email your questions to info@midsoutaudio.com or call us live on the air. 302-491-6484. Tech Talk Live.
And we're back. And there's another demonstration of compression. I talked over the music, and the music ducked. You hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, it worked.
I felt it, actually.
Yeah, did you feel it?
Yeah.
I could feel it in my bones. Anyway,
I'm joking on the man.
this is the least serious we've ever been on this show. It's totally out of control. It's Dutch's fault.
Katie
No,
knows the reason why. Katie, why?
It's because Michael's not here.
That's it. Yeah.
True.
He's
Michael-
the leveler.
Michael would, he'd be whipping us into shape right now. Yeah, he'd be cracking the whip. Like, no, you guys aren't taking this seriously. But he would have still been doing the math on that projected question.
right.
Yes, he'd have had an answer. So,
Instead of zoom out,
excuse me. So,
move the projector.
Jeremy Payne is the Onstage Stand brand director for the and national accounts manager for the music people. Jeremy got his start in the music industry and the pro audio industry as a teenager in a small chain of retail stores in upstate New York. After working his way through various roles, including teaching, sales, purchasing, and eventually general managing of the business, he left to join the music people in 2010. At TMP, Jeremy has taken on multiple responsibilities ranging from sales, marketing, and management. Outside of TMP, Jeremy is also serving as the secretary of the NAMM Young Professionals Board of Directors and a gigging musician. So we're talking to someone on the board at NAMM. That's a pretty cool position to have. I didn't know that, Jeremy, till I read your bio. So we're grateful to have you with us. Thanks you for joining us tonight. I'm assuming you're on the phone. Are you there, Jeremy?
I am here.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming to talk about all things Onstage Stand. So how long has when did Onstage Stand start? When did you go in? How long has the business been around?
Well, first off, thanks for having us on. I mean, this is super cool. We love doing stuff like this. And I got to watch a few episodes of the show. I was not aware of what a huge little show you have there. Huge little show. That's oxymoron. But
that's jumbo shrimp. There you go. So
Onstage has been around since 1979.
I think what you may have. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what you may have noticed is on the other episodes we've been a lot more serious than this. Tonight it's out of control. Everything is funny. I don't know what the deal is. So.
We're going to get along. We're going to have fun on this part.
Okay. So when did it start?
1979.
Okay.
And, by a fellow named Jim Hennessy, and Jim was working for KMC. He was actually a sheet metal worker in the I don't know if you know about CAMC. We know them as a musical instruments distributor, but they're actually in the aerospace market, is kind of like the bigger industry that they're a part of. And Charlie Command started a musical instruments division from his passion for music. Noticed Jim's talents, the sheet metal worker, brought him over to the music side of things. He did artist relations, during like the 60s and 70s, during that time period. So
it was kind of aviation that developed the backing for the Ovation guitar, right? From Command, wasn't that? That was like all aeronautic space stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where Jim worked on the Ovation side of things. So he was giving guitars away to some pretty big names back then, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Paul McCartney, and he's got this.
The Glenn Campbell TV show. Glenn Campbell was a big endorser of the Adamas. That was, everybody wanted to have one that watched that show. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how Jim got his start. And one day he kind of thought up this idea when he was out on the road at a concert. And the concept of a double or triple guitar stand hadn't been thought of at that point. So he said, I could make a stand that could hold 2 or 3 of these things and clean the stage up, which seems kind of, something we take for granted these days. But Jim invented the double and triple guitar stands, and that's kind of what he started on stage as a company on. And it's, now we cover pretty much every category in the market, from guitar to pro audio, keyboard, percussion, band and orchestra, you name it.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, we've already started getting some questions online, so why don't we just take a couple of those? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, heavy.
Let's see. Jeremy, we have common setups where we stack 2 QSC KLA-12s on stands. I've tried several different speaker stands over the years to try to get a solid and comfortable configuration with these speakers. With 2 speakers, it clocks in at about 115 pounds. Do you have an onstage stand recommendation for a heavy load such as this?
Yeah, so I guess I'll answer that 2 ways. The answer to both is yes, but as for a tripod, pretty much any of our models will hold at least 120 pounds. So you can go with like an all-steel model, which would be the SS7725, or if you want to, take it easy on your back, you can get some all-aluminum stands like the SS7761. So those are 2 tripod options. If you want something that's really heavy-duty in a tripod, you can go with, we kind of call it a lighting stand and speaker stand combo. It would be the LSSS, so lighting stand, speaker stand, 7770, and that'll actually go up to 10 feet because it has 2 height clutch points.
Now, what was that model number again, Jeremy? An LS?
SS7770.
SS7770. Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna pull an image of that online here real quick, just so we can show that. So and that stand goes to 10 feet. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's got 2 height clutch points on it and really, really long legs with heavy duty leg housing. So you can really get that base spread quite wide on that. And if you're putting, two modules together like that, that'd be a great option.
And that stand holds 150 pounds.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. Now, that stand properly assembled, how should those braces at the bottom, how should they be when that stand is properly erected? Should they be straight?
Like the cross bracing between the leg housing and
yes, for the most stability. Isn't that the way you're supposed to set that? I'm not saying anything about this picture being wrong, but I see a lot of people that use tripod stands, if they've got a little bit of room in the corner, they'll make the stand as narrow as possible. So it's got like a 6-inch footprint, and it's no wider than a round base mic stand. And that's not the way to properly use a speaker stand. Is that not correct?
I mean, that's pretty normal for any tripod design, whether it's a speaker stand or a camera stand, right?
Right, exactly.
You want to get that spread as wide as you can without the bracing turning inside out, if you will.
Exactly.
So I think that's what you mean, right? Like that, the bracing becomes a straight line as opposed to having some angle on it.
That's a concept that I see. That's one thing I probably see the biggest mistake that people make with they try to make tripod stands as like space saving measures, and they'll cram them into corners, and they're just really top heavy and very unstable that way, and can fall over. So
And it's a best practice thing, like you said. But nonetheless, we do rate our stands, in a not ideal condition, right? So the average person, if they listen to Tech Talk, they'd know that. But if not, we do rate stuff. We're pretty conservative with the numbers. So you can't hold us to it because I just said you can't. But if we say 120, it's usually quite a bit more than that.
Are you saying every speaker stand made by OnStage is rated for 120? I'm just
150.
Well, 120 is pretty standard for most of like the single height or the single height clutch tripod. So SS7761, 7725. I believe 7730 goes up to 140 or 160. But that bigger one is quite a bit more. I'll have to take, if you guys have it up on the web, I'll take your word for it. I'm going from memory here.
We just had it up there for a second. So was it 120 or 150?
That one's got to be more. I think it's 140.
I'm looking at the 7730B now.
Well, that'd be for black. Yeah.
Yeah. 160 is what this one's saying.
160.
Yeah.
Steel and
that's
aluminum
steel,
construction.
Yeah, that's just a combination of the two metals. It kind of makes it live in between, steel and aluminum, lightweight versus heavy duty, and just the way it's constructed and the length of the legs and the size of the leg housing makes that one a little bit more than the other two models I mentioned. But man, as far as stability goes, even though the weight capacity might be a little bit less, that 7770, that's the one. If you really want to get a big base spread, as you were pointing out, that'd be great.
Cool. We have another question online. Hi, Jeremy. You guys now have the USB rechargeable music stand light. How long does it hold a charge? And how long is the charging time?
Yeah, so we have two models. So it depends on which model that you're looking at. But there's the LED 2214, which is a single gooseneck, and then the LED 2224, which is the dual gooseneck. That's probably going to be the more popular one, so I'll go to that. You've got 4 LEDs in each one of those lamps, and it's white and red. So you get in one lamp, you kind of get both options. Red's a little easier on the eyes. But the charging time, I think, is about 6 hours if it's completely dead, and you get a 15-hour battery life.
Wow.
With full bang continuous use on it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really great product. We came out with it last summer NAMM, so it's just turning a year old in June or July. And we won Best in Show on that. That was something we were quite proud of. I think we were the first people to market with something like that. And,
can we trade in battery ones? This looks kind of cool.
Yeah. We have a large inventory of battery operated stand lights that are just a pain to constantly keep batteries in. So that's actually a great idea.
Yeah, just a little USB charges it up.
Yep, that's cool. I'm gonna have to get on Corvo for not telling me about that product. So you can pass that along to him when you see him tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'll get on him first thing tomorrow morning. I love picking on Corvo.
Yeah, there you go. So let's see. So back to the heavier stand option. The person that chimed in said that he likes the heavier stand option, but the flex of the mass has been his concern. So with that kind of weight that he had on that speaker, which what did he say before was
115?
Was 115? Is he going to have a flex issue?
No, on that, especially on that 7770, because it has two height clutches on it, you can kind of put one up without. You need to get your speakers high up in the air. So when you take a single pole that telescopes into a larger shaft beneath, the higher you put that, the less stable that pole is. The less strong it is. If you can have two shorter lengths as opposed to one long length, you get a little bit more stability out of that. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, and the height clutch, where those two clutches meet, we actually put steel collars on that stand as opposed to plastic for some of the more kind of basic models that you would find, just for simple like plastic PA cabs or something like that. So that's a great question, and I'm glad he brought that up because the 2 high clutches, that's another purpose that it serves, and those metal collars. Can I give me the opportunity to talk about that?
So just by the way of product endorsement, one of our viewers, Stephen Hunter, said that he was at a Jacob Dylan concert in D.C. the other night and saw him using the USB light charging.
He's got good eyes.
Yeah.
Cool.
What? That he saw that from?
Yeah. I mean, if you're out in the audience, that's an on-stage USB light right there.
I don't know that he saw it
it's
from the
pretty good.
audience. He probably talked to him and saw that. So, but
Quit giving us crap, will you? Just let
I don't think
There
you
you
know
go.
me.
I saw one, but he saw it. So there you go.
That's good.
I don't know if it was a Jacob Dylan show or a Wallflower show. So who knows? I know that Jacob Dylan's band, you can't use any strobe lights with those guys. Remember that? Yeah. That's anyways. Another story. We're moving on. And he said he was in the front row.
Oh, there
So
you go.
there you go.
That's it.
So hey.
Instead of asking for a set list, you should ask for the light.
What's so the product line from Onstage Stands has definitely increased dramatically over the years. I mean, it's like you said, you started as a guitar stand manufacturer, and then I kind of came into Onstage world as you were an alternative to Atlas mic stands. You had the MS-10C, which was the standard round base stand. You kind of took the market with a round base stand that was economically priced, and but then the product line has just grown and grown and grown, and like this, you're always talking about this is something I didn't know about, and we sell a lot of your gear. So just talk about the kind of growth the company's had and what direction you're going in and what products you have to offer. Just give us the spiel.
I mean, ever since the company started, the one kind of consistent thing is we want to just be a problem solver. We want to keep adding to the line to help, the average musician, afford good gear, because there's a lot of really, Atlas, they make great stands, and K&M, they make great stands. They're nice heavy duty stuff that's been in the industry for a long time. It's on every rider, and, every production company probably has stacks of them. And so we wanted to fill that void in the market where, well, what does the average guy get? And there was a lot of, there's some okay options out there, but we really want to make a touring quality stand at an economic price. And so we've just added to the line, and in all categories again. But if we kind of focus maybe a little bit on pro audio, probably about 10 years ago, we really started to focus on, all right, well, let's make really heavy duty stuff that is at a significantly lower price. So we have our economy, our entry level stuff that's great for the gigging musician. But what about production companies? Like, they want to not spend $100 for a mic stand either. So can we use a lot of the buying power that we have for a lot of the big, top selling products that we have and make something high end, but at a much lower price than some of the other caps out there. So that's when we started to develop our 9000 series of mic stands. So one of the ones that you guys have there, the MS 9701, that stand is all metal. Everything, the knobs, every last bit except for the cable clips is metal. And that's something that we've made continual improvements to over the years. I mean, I think I've seen, since coming on board with the company, I think we've probably made 5 or 6 different versions of that to where we landed today. And that is an amazing stand. I mean, we put that up against stuff that's twice the price. And we usually get a lot of compliments that it's nicer than some stuff that's in that price range.
Dutch is showing it off right now. We actually have the stand
I don't know
in the
about
studio.
showing it off.
Well, yeah, you're demoing it.
He's about
Yes,
to pinch himself.
he's doing Vanna White. He almost pinched himself too, but that's another story because he was mishandling it.
And I noticed too that I was looking at some of the stuff that you guys carry, and you're used to getting like the MS-7701B, which
Right.
is kind of the little brother to that stand, which is a great, for I think was it $25, $30
Exactly.
price.
Yeah.
Incredible stand. There's nothing else on the market that can beat it. but this is significantly beefier. If you pick those
Yes.
two up side by
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
fully
yeah.
down.
Yeah, we noticed it immediately when we took it out of the box.
I gave
Yeah.
Kevin a bunch of crap. It's okay.
Yeah, this is your direct competitor to like something in the K&M line, right? That's what you're.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a really
And
heavy
then-
duty stand. It's a nice stand.
So we continued down that path, and then we started to develop, kick drum stands to go along with that. So there's basically a mini version of that for kick and amp. We also came out with a round bass. So you have the 3-section round bass there with a big 12-inch bass and that big baseball bat of a clutch. You mentioned Atlas. That's a product that we looked at to go right up against. But again, try to make it a little bit more affordable, make improvements where we could. And something on the round bases that we did is, you may have noticed when you were assembling them, the bottom thread is much coarser than your typical thread that you get on a mic stand.
That was the first thing that Dutch noticed, actually.
Was the
Yeah.
threads.
Yeah.
Noticed
Oh,
immediately.
yeah. The old, or the ones we get,
Yeah, the
No comment.
threads are the thread. It was a lot easier to thread on and a lot more bite there. So, show the mic stand off. Just switch over to the mic stand. Dutch.
Round
The
base?
round base?
The round base, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so that one is part of a larger line. Like, we have a 10-inch bass, we have a 12-inch single clutch version of that, and then this is the dual clutch. So this would be great for, miking up an orchestra or a choir, or even putting paddles up in the air, antennas or something.
Right.
You just want to get them high up there without taking up a lot of real estate. Super
We-
stable.
Yeah, we've gone to the ceiling.
We don't have a
with it.
camera that
Yeah,
high, Dutch.
yeah.
So if I could jump back to the threads on the bottom really quick, it's a little
Yep.
bit more than meets the eye. That's an M20 thread. So as we know, subwoofer manufacturers are putting those M20 threaded cups on subs just for more stability than a standard cup and socket type style pole. So we were an early adopter of this when we were making our subwoofer shafts, and we said, well, why should we limit it to speaker poles? Why don't we do this on mic stands as well, and kind of start creating a little bit of a modular product line? So you can buy a subwoofer shaft and put it into that bass if you needed to, if you had like a little
Oh,
top
yeah.
spot or
That's
something
Yeah,
big.
like
that is considerably more substantial.
Yeah.
Yes, we're showing the stand on Facebook here now.
That's that's handy. That's kind of cool.
So that will screw into most subs too. They have that same thread.
Yeah, if for some reason you needed to put a mic shaft in a subwoofer, you could do that.
Well,
as
we have a lot of people that want to dance on our subs, so we could actually put a mic up there for them to sing with. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Oh, that was last week,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now we have a couple online questions Katie has
Okay,
for
yes.
us. Are you ready for those?
We do have quite a few. We've got the first one from Peter Radford. What can you recommend in terms of a good music stand? I like a stand that you can push up and down without turning a knob to turn tension on and off.
Yeah,
Right.
great question.
Okay.
So our answer to that kind of thing, spring-loaded, no knobs, nothing to adjust, is the SM for sheet music, 7711.
We're going to bring that up online here. An SM7711, okay?
Yep. And that's going to be just like, you think back to high school band, you had those sheet music stands you can kind of just grab and raise up and down. It's very similar to that.
Those were all Hamiltons, weren't they?
Or maybe
Manhattan, Manhattan.
Or Manhasset, that's right. Yeah.
We all
So that's-
have our version of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is ours. And again, we try to be really competitive. We're trying to make stuff for as little amount of money as possible. And a big part of why we can do that is how big our line is and how much buying power we have when we, manufacturing power. And we make a lot of stuff for other people too. I can't drop many names, but
Oh, come on. This is
It
only
might
on
start-
this is only on the World Wide Web.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I can tell you this: some of the largest like pro audio manufacturers, keyboard manufacturers, if they have stands or attachments or benches, and we probably make it or have made it for
I've
them
got-
at some point in time. And that's something that really, on the manufacturing side, as far as pricing control, really sets us apart from some other people too. And everyone goes, "How do you make this for so much less than somebody else. Like, how could you make such a higher quality stand or an equal quality stand for like 30-40% less? And that's the real answer.
Cool. So Katie has some more questions. Katie?
I do. Sorry to interrupt earlier. I don't know when my mic is on or not. Gary Wetzel said, "Do you make a music stand with built-in lights? I knock the stupid little clip-ons off too often."
That's no, we do not. But that's an interesting concept. And so I'm going to write that one down and take it back to the office tomorrow. I don't think I've seen a music stand with built-in lights. Pretty clever.
Friaticora wants to know if you guys have products that angles guitar amps rather than lifting the whole amp.
Yeah, great question. Yep, because and the core behind why people want to leave an amp on the ground is bass response, right? If you take it up off the ground, you lose that kind of boundary loaded effect. But there's of course benefits to getting it up off the ground, because sometimes you don't want that, and most of the time it's because us old guys don't want to hurt our backs and bend over to adjust the knobs. So to answer that question, there's two models. There's one for a single cabinet type setup, like a single 10 or a single 12. That would be the RS 4000, or its big brother for your 210, your 212. I've even seen people put 410 cabinets on these. That would be the RS 6000, and it's a really nice fold flat design. I think the tubing's only an inch, so when it's completely folded down, it's only an inch tall, and then whatever the collapse length is on each of those.
I think we're getting a picture of it up right now. Did you get it? There we go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Super simple design. No knobs on this one either. You just kind of fold it back, and eventually it stops itself just from the cross bracing.
And do you make a bag for that?
We don't have we have a lot of different bags that it would probably fit in. I would just have to cross-reference. If someone wanted to do the research on their own, I would look at our keyboard stand bag, the KSD 6500. If you compared that,
that's kind of what I was. That's what I was thinking. That would because that's collapsible. It would be nice to just haul around in a bag. So,
yeah,
and you guys do really have nice bags too. The stand bags are really they're built well.
They have to be. They lug around big heavy steel, right? I mean,
they've got large zippers, and I've got some of your stand bags that we have probably overloaded with a lot of product, and they really hold up. So I can testify to that.
Yeah, and that's something that another area we try to continually make improvements on. A lot of our cases, where they were 5, 10, 15 years ago versus where they are today is just drastically different. And, we just keep finding, better zipper suppliers or, better material. And we just try to make improvements whenever we can, especially if it's something where we can improve it and not have to raise the price on something. That's always really attractive to us. We're always looking for ways to do that.
We've got just a couple minutes left, and we've got to give away these stands. So before we do that, do you have like the last 30 seconds here? How about if you just wrap it up and give tell what are your parting comments for our audience, and before we thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that we hope to get across is the variety of stands that we have to offer, and attachments and small accessories. We have over 700 products in our line these days.
Wow.
And to be honest, it's like overwhelming for most people, and myself included. Sometimes I wonder how I keep it straight in my head, but it's a lot of things. So if you've bought an onstage stand or an onstage product before and you're happy with it, next time you go to buy an accessory of any type, chances are that Onstage makes it. So go to our website, do a keyword search, see what you can find, and chances are we probably have. You just might not think of Onstage stands as someone who makes a guitar slide or a guitar tuner, for example. So that's something we always like to get across to folks, and we just try to keep adding to the selection to make musicians and pro audio professionals' lives easier. So we appreciate the support of everybody, and we owe a lot of our continued growth. I don't think we've had a year where we didn't grow for as long as I've been in the industry, before I was with the company.
Wow, no, it's an amazing line of products, and we we've used them and supported them for years, and I know you've had a lot, you've got a lot of happy customers out there. So I really appreciate you taking the time to join us this month on Tech Talk Live, and we'd like to have you back sometime to talk more about this. We can do this again in a few months if that's good with you. So and I want to talk. We could talk some more about NAMM and what the young professional board of directors. That your position there intrigues me. So maybe we could talk about that sometime on Tech Talk. So anyway, Jeremy, thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to take about a 30-second break. We're going to come back and give away these on-stage products, and we'll be right back. So thank you very much. Stick around. Tech Talk Live continues just after this. All right, we've got winners here, and I'm trying to keep this all straight. So the round base mic stand is going to Nikki McCowan.
Yes.
All right, so Nikki, Katie will get up with you for your contact information, and she'll make sure you get the round base stand. The tripod stand was going to
Aaron Howe.
Aaron Howe won the tripod stand, and the pair of speaker stands is going to
Stephen Hunter.
Stephen Hunter.
Right.
So that way he can take speaker stands when he goes to the next Jacob Dylan concert and talks about that. So anyway, it's been a blast tonight. It was kind of crazy. I don't know. It was a crazy Tuesday night. It must have been. Was it a Monday? It seems like it. So. Thanks for joining us. Next month, I am almost completely positive that our guest is going to be Galaxy Audio. So stay tuned for more information about that, and we'll talk about it in the future. They'll have a giveaway, and Tech Talk Live will be back next. We're in May, right? So the end of May.
Yeah, May.
Yeah. So we'll see you in a month. Okay. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.